So before we get to the first 13 years of the life of the Prophet, peace be upon him, let's quickly address some of the verses Nabil has mentioned. He clearly acknowledges that there are peaceful verses in the Quran, and he seems to find a contradiction in them and other violent verses of the Quran. For example, one of the verses he mentions is Surah 2, 256. La ikraha fid din. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لا إكراه في الدين قد تبين الرشد من الغي. Okay, that verse clearly states that there is no compulsion in religion and truth stands clear from falsehood. So in other words, do not force people to accept your religion, right? And that particular verse was definitely revealed about the Jews and the Christians, because the context, when we read it, that verse was revealed about the Prophet and the Quran or Allah preventing Muslims from forcing anyone to accept Islam. It's clear. Then he mentions another verse which is talking about the Jewish people, that they were told that if you kill one innocent person, it is like killing the whole of humanity. So why is God giving that example to Muslims is the question. How do the Muslims understand that verse? How do we apply it in our lives? What do the Muslim commentators have to say? What do the commentaries say about this verse? The application is for the Muslims. The reason why God is telling the believers why the Jews were told X, Y, and Z is to give them a lesson that they were told this also applies on you. So they were given a standard, which was a moral standard. We are telling you this standard again so that you can also apply this in your lives. So do not kill innocent people, because killing an innocent person is like killing the all of humanity. And then he jumps straight to the next verse, which is talking about criminals, amazingly, without shedding light on that particular incident, which is mentioned in the verse later, that as for those who commit crimes against Allah and His Messenger. Now, Islam has been a political faith from the very start. Okay, the Medina society, or the society in Medina, was governed by the law of Islam, right? Prophet was the head of state, right? So there was a law to follow. You cannot murder. So that particular verse, which prescribes very harsh punishment for criminals. Who are these criminals? The context of the verse is, and we read in the commentaries, that there were people who came to the Prophet of Islam and they accepted Islam with him. They were desert Bedouin. They were Arabs. They came to the Prophet, they accepted Islam, and they became ill. They were unwell. So the Prophet prescribed for them to go to his camels, okay, and stay in that environment and mix camel milk with camel urine. He prescribed this as a cultural, as a traditional remedy for whatever condition they had. So this cultural, traditional remedy was prescribed by the Prophet for those specific people, for those specific conditions, in those specific circumstances. They went to the camels. So after becoming fit and well, spending time out there in the desert with the camels of the Prophet, they killed the caretaker of the camels. Now remember, these people had already embraced Islam with the Prophet. They pretended to be Muslims with the Prophet, clearly. And when they became well and fit, they realized that there are many camels here and they can simply make away with the camels. So they killed the caretaker, they tortured him to death, okay? They chopped his limbs off from opposite sides and they blinded him. These very people blinded him. So they killed this caretaker of the Prophet very, very savagely, and they made away with the camels. So when the Prophet realized what had happened, he sent people to arrest them, to catch them. They were caught and they were killed in the like fashion. Their limbs from the opposite sides were chopped off, just like they killed the caretaker of the Prophet, because Islam follows the law, an eye for an eye, a hand for a hand, a leg for a leg. So this was the law that was applied by the Prophet on these very criminals, and this is when this verse was revealed to confirm what the Prophet had done, that those who fight against God and His Prophet, this is the punishment prescribed for them. So this punishment, or this harsh penalty, this very harsh penalty, is for highway robbers, for murderers, for rapists. This is the penalty in Islam for people who do such crimes. Okay, this is what the verse is talking about. The verse is not talking about disbelievers, just as Nabil Qureshi attempted to insinuate, right? It has nothing to do with disbelievers, because the verse before clarifies you cannot kill innocent people under any circumstances. The prophetic tradition clarifies that amply. The prophetic tradition clarifies that very much. How? Because we have reports in Bukhari, for example, the Prophet specifically told his companions that when in conflict, do not kill women and children. Specifically, in the book of Jihad in Sahih al-Bukhari, the Prophet specifically told his companions, even in conflict, do not kill women and children, because the Prophet had come across a dead body of a woman on the battlefield, on one of the battlefields. So these pieces of information are deliberately hidden by our Christian missionary opponents and interlocutors. In this case, Nabil Qureshi clearly does not understand the context of these texts in Islam, or doesn't want to understand them, or if he understands them, didn't want to tell people the bigger picture.